Hello, Zeeba Hashmi again. I am the founder of Ibtidah blog that is looking into health and education centric issues that are very pertinent to Pakistan. Today, allow me to speak about transgender issues in Pakistan. The Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act was passed by the National Assembly here in 2018, and it is considered significant in terms of reassertion of fundamental rights for this community. It deals with protection, relief, and rehabilitation issues. This is a positive step towards ensuring rights of transgender, and it is important to highlight certain definitions provided in this act to understand the nature and context of the vaguely used term transgenders here. The Act carries important definitions related to gender identities and expressions and have the same effect in the penal codes. So, what are these definitions here? Allow me to share with you. So, the definitions as per Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2018 considers gender identity as a person's innermost individual sense of the self as male, female, a blend of both or neither that can correspond or not to the sex assigned at birth. Gender expression is referred to the person's presentation of gender identity and or the one that is perceived by others. And the transgender person are defined into three categories. One is intersex, biologically born with a mixture of male and female genital features or born with congenital ambiguities. A eunuch is defined as a person assigned a male at birth but undergoes genital excision or castration. And a transgender man, transgender woman, Khwaja Sira, or any other person whose gender identity or gender expression differs from social norms and cultural expectations based on the sex they were assigned at the time of birth. Of the rights that this act recognizes, the very basic is the one of getting registered under self-perceived gender in all government forms, not just related to NADRA, which are the citizenship documentation that every resident of Pakistan is required to register with. Another significant part of the law is the right to inheritance, where a trans woman will have the same right as a woman and a trans man as a man. But in case if the person doesn't identify both as trans man or a trans woman, then they will get an inheritance share, which will be an average of two separate distributions for a man and a woman. The rest of the Act reasserts and reaffirms non-discrimination to transgender in their access to fundamental rights that are already enshrined in the Constitution for all citizens of Pakistan. The basic right of an individual to identify one with self-perceived gender is the pinnacle of trans rights movement and legislative efforts. Although, as seen in this act, is a case where a trans person who doesn't identify oneself as a trans man or a trans woman is to be treated unequally in the inheritance shares. Also, another important thing to mention here is that in practice and as a norm, we see the transgenders are often abandoned by their own families, so they get adopted by certain communities, which we culturally know as the Khwaja Siras. Some prominent human rights advocates and lawyers insist that all legislation on transgender would be futile unless it acknowledges and binds the natural parents to take care of their children and criminalize abandonment. So, what are your views on the Act? Do you think it is adequate in terms of definitions and recognition of rights? Please do share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for listening.